Hello, friends. Today we are going to be continuing on with our Kandinsky inspired lessons. Here are two images of Kandinsky's work just to refresh your mind. He used lots of colors, lots of shapes, lots of lines. He usually had a strong focal point within his work, and he was known for painting to music. Here is another work by Kandinsky. This one's a little bit more busy than the last one, but very cool, very beautiful, very colorful. So last week we created a Kandinsky-inspired work of art that had a strong focal point. This week we are going to be creating a Kandinsky-inspired work that has a focal point that is a cartoon character. I'm doing all cartoon characters this week with my classes. So this week you are going to be creating a Kandinsky cartoon character. So we are going to start by putting in some shapes. Now, he used all kinds of shapes, so you can as well. Last week, we looked at several that focused on circles. We looked at some that had lots of rectangular shapes and square type shapes. So you are going to be able to use whichever shapes or a combination of shapes that you want to, because he combined a lot of his shapes. Like some were more predominantly circles, but some of them are a good mix of a lot of things. So I'm going to start by blocking in some shapes. And I think that I'm going to be creating my focal point through isolation. Remember we talked about isolation, where an object is off by itself. Everything else seems relatively connected, and then one shape will be kind of all by its lonesome. So I'm going to make this be my focal point, and it will be my character that I'm going to create. So once I've blocked in my shapes, I'm going to go back into my picture with line. Now, because he was often inspired by music, his lines look very lyrical, very musical. So I want my lines to kind of have a little bit of that flair to them as well, where it might look like music being carried off into the wind. And if you want, you can make them go behind shapes and then come over top of shapes. This is your work. This is not Kandinsky. You are being inspired by his work, but you create it to be your own. All right? What I don't want to see is Kandinsky's picture on your paper or my picture on your paper. We want to use inspiration. We don't want to use a copy machine. If I wanted to see my picture or Kandinsky's picture, I could go put it on a copy machine and just print it off myself. I want to see your special, unique artwork. All right, so I'm feeling good about the lines I've added, and I kind of feel like I can go over here and start working on my cartoon character. So we're going to turn this shape, and like I said, you can use any shape you want. If you want to do a circle, it's up to you. And I will show you some of my other examples from before, so you will be able to see what I have created previously. So I'm going to have my shape here reaching out and holding on almost like he's afraid he's going to float away. So I'm going to make him look kind of scared. Now, when we do cartoons, we are using exaggerated shapes, exaggerated expressions, because like a person's face could never do this. This can only come from a cartoon character. But it's so much fun because you can really get across certain ideas by how you draw. So I think pretty much anybody would look at this and be like, oh my gosh, that shape is scared. So I'm going to make some legs. If you don't want to put legs on yours, you don't have to. Just a really amazing face expression might be enough. So his legs are kind of going every which way, like it's almost like there's no gravity. He's like, whoa. And he grabs a hold of these shapes as quick as he can so he doesn't float away. Now, coloring wise, you guys can use markers, you can use crayons, you can use colored pencils, you can use a mix of all of them. That is up to you. Now, I will suggest that you take some time to think about what colors will help show the feeling or emotion. So I have my character, he looks kind of scared. And when I think of cartoons and I think of scared, I think of Scooby-Doo. And in Scooby-Doo, there's lots of blues, purples, black, brown, gray, green, and red. So I think those are the colors I'm going to use as my inspiration for my color palette on this. So I'm putting down some blue marker as a base. Marker works pretty good as a base color for things, and then you can go on top of it with color pencil or crayons. It's up to you which one you want to use, but you can color on top of them very well. It does not work the opposite way. If you put crayons down first, you probably do not want to try to put marker over top of it because markers are a wet media. They're juicy. And crayons have a wax in them. And so if you try to put marker on top of crayons, the color is going to bead up. It's not going to go where you might want it to. It's not going to cover up anything. So it's probably not the direction you really want to go with your picture. So using the marker as a base, I can do a lot of cool things. I'm using purple as a shade on the blue. I could have used blue because the blue color pencil, if I push hard enough, it is going to be darker than the light blue marker. But I like purple as a shadow on blue. I think it looks pretty cool. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing harder, and then I start getting a little bit lighter as I go away. I'm trying to make the bottom of his mouth. Like he's going, oh no. I push harder around the bottom of his eyes because he's got big eyes like I do. And it's making like a shadow underneath on the blue. Pretty cool, huh? But you want to color your page. Now, color all the shapes in your picture, all right? Color all the shapes in your picture first. And then if you have like little bits of background, just lightly take a color pencil or a crayon and just lightly skim a color in there. Don't push hard because you don't want to have like some parts dark, some parts light, and then some parts kind of messy because you're getting tired or your hand hurts. So just be careful. I would just do it very lightly. So I wanted to show you a couple other pictures I've created for this project. This I used markers and crayon. Same with this one. This is markers and crayon. I use a very light green, I don't know if you can see it, very light green in the background, just to give a little bit of color. Oops, sorry. Class is over. So I used a light green in the background. There are several of Kandinsky's pictures that have just kind of a very almost cloudy, dusky color in the background. I'm not done with this one. So I had a student come late to my class yesterday. And when she got there, she kind of sat there for a while and watched what we were doing. And then she raised her hand and she said, "Mr. E, are we making angry Doritos?" I was like, "What?" And then I looked at it like, oh my goodness, it does look like an angry Dorito. I was not trying to make an angry Dorito. I was just trying to make a angry triangle shape. But yeah, it looks like an angry Dorito. And then today I was making a silly, crazy kind of picture. I'm going to use rainbow colors on this to finish it. I had this ribbon and I meant it to like hold up like it was like twirling a ribbon around. But it's holding onto this shape and then it's stepping on these shapes down here. So you can really have fun with this project, but you're being inspired by Kandinsky, but then you're just taking it to a different place by what you draw with your character, okay? But do try to theme it with a certain color palette and a certain emotional connection. I had silly, mad, happy, that's happy too, and scared. So you can pick how you're going to do it, but let Kandinsky be your inspiration. Have fun with it, okay, guys? Bye. Have a great day.